On you guys, it's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome back to another review. I know, 2 reviews in 1 week. What is this? Today we are going to be reviewing Lair of the Clockwork God. It's become one of my favorite platforming games, honestly. It's so amazing. Like, if you haven't played the game, please get it now. For the first time on this channel, I can say that, like, a big developer sent me their game. Like, I consider them a big developer, but you know, a big developer sent me their game, and I never expected to get a code. I honestly never expected to get a code for this game, so I want to give a really big shout out to Dan Marshall. This game is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for sending me the code to begin with. And for those of you who are wondering, no, this is not sponsored whatsoever. While yes, I did get the game for free, this is in no way monetarily sponsored, this video or this review, so I just want to make that 100% clear before we continue on. So let's get into some emotional development, shall we, with Lair of the Clockwork God. Contemplating, philosophizing, and making our imaginative reality a place where anyone can access. By the flip of a switch or the click of a mouse, it's only half of the world of Lair of the Clockwork God. Let's go on to a steady platform, shall we? The Lair of the Clockwork God creates a world in which you as the player are trying to stop the apocalypse from which you created. I know, awesome, right? Through going on this adventure with Ben and Dan, you go through classic platforming puzzles, you go through simulations, you go through and craft many items. It's crafting, okay? Don't cry, craft. I found myself just thoroughly impressed not only with the writing, but how the game flowed and how in unison the story was with everything. Sometimes whenever I see indie games in particular, they try to cram so much into everything all at once that it either doesn't make sense at the end of it or it's just a heaping pile of mess. And this has so much in it, but it also makes sense. The story, the gameplay, the mechanics, everything, it just flows like a river. Flows like a unity, it flows very cohesively. Each section of the game became more lustrous, more of the pieces filled with each different puzzle that you did, and it led me to becoming emotionally involved, which is very dangerous. I needed tissues and I became emotionally vulnerable, okay, which is a sight the bravest knight dare not see. Now, at first when I was beginning this game, I saw a cute indie platformer game and I didn't expect how heavy and how emotional it would actually get and how real it would get too. Like, it has wit, it has sarcastic dry humor, which I absolutely love, and it has humanity to it, which a lot of indie games, dare I say, they don't bring a lot of that realness to it like this one. Now, granted, all games aren't meant to be profound. All games aren't meant to deliver a certain type of message, but with this one, I really felt like this did, and I really appreciate that. The fact that in the beginning, I immediately saw that this game was comparable to Ori and the Blind Forest and Frambo. Now, in philosophy, constructs are a really big deal. There's a quote that I gathered, and it describes it perfectly, of where it states, in philosophy, a construct is an object which is ideal, that is, an object of the mind or of thought, meaning that its existence may be said to depend upon a subject's mind. Each construct within this game that you go through is of the mind of Ben and Dan's experiences, everything that they have been through up until this point, up until their memories have allowed them to. Whatever memories they have, whatever constructs they have within their mind regarding any situation they've been in, they already have it in their catalog, in their assets, in their brain. Each emotional adventure that they go on is teaching a computer basic emotions such as, but not limited to, love, anger, empathy, lust, sadness, grief, etc. Now, going through this game, you're going to go through different platforming adventures that teach a computer the emotions needed to stop the apocalypse. Really interesting plotline. Also on the same spectrum, Ben and Dan learned something about themselves, such as not regretting choices that they made whenever they went to Peru, getting the flower that they picked for Matsi's colon cancer, to being hanging upside down in an anti-gravity field to get RAM chips in order to experience other constructs for a piece of human emotion that is simple for them but complex for a computer to understand. A computer's language is based on ones and zeros. It's based on that binary code that we see throughout computer language. Now, what makes this game very special, at least to me in my eyes, is that it combines the humor of human language, the essence behind it, the way that it's done with truth and sarcasm to an extent, and the way that we have the element of surprise, so to speak, of where we have to teach all of this, all human emotion, all of our own constructs that we feel, to a computer that cannot feel, emote, or convey the same humanity, it's an absolutely brilliant premise for a game. Now think about this for a second. The concept of this game has such a deep finesse, and it took so much. I can't even imagine how much time it took to be able to create the concept for this game, let alone the dialogue. You have to have such a deep understanding of humanity and computers to be able to pull this off successfully, which this game did. Throughout the game, I was I was between laughing, I was crying, I was just in utter awe of how this game truly makes me think, and it will really push you to your mental boundaries. Honestly, I feel like some kind of discredit certain games because they can't see the meaning in things right away, and all I have to say is just have the courage to look, have the courage to see beyond what you're comfortable with. So let's go into that witty realism, shall we? Let's go into that room and get that gluten-free bread, because I have a gluten intolerance and I can't have gluten. So in all reality, if Ben and Dan actually had a stand-up show at a comedy club, I would be first in line to get tickets. The way that their humor combined together, it's just, it makes me giggle, okay? It makes me laugh at the most just silly, inane things that I just at the end of playing each session, I would go, what did I just witness exactly? From a bar that you have to wear a bra and dance in front of a bouncer in order to get into, to having to relieve your bladder so that Dan can carry you, to having to do so much more. Like, these levels, they took me by surprise, honestly. Like, it took me by complete shock in the best way possible. This is the element of surprise. This is what I love in gaming, of when you don't expect certain things. I absolutely love it. There's one level I didn't expect, of where I thought, oh, this is gonna be a sad level. No, you're hungover and you need to get a cup of coffee. I believe that was a level called grief. There are also levels that hit me right in the feels whenever I saw a level of Dan dealing with cancer. Now, I'm unsure if Dan Marshall in real life had to deal with cancer. I do not know if he did or not, but that really hit home for me. That really was something that I, as the player, really was like, whoa, they just went there. And that's like a spoiler alert, that's what they used the flower for, was to break through the cancer clusters. And it made me, that's the section that made me cry the most, because it's something that, like, it's something that parts of my family have had to deal with. Both of my grandparents died from cancer, so it's one of those things of where, when a game communicates humanity, this is a part of humanity that I'm talking about, whenever it communicates those things to the player, that's real. That's something that's absolutely groundbreaking and undeniable. Also in the level, you see Dan being buried and Ben having to pee in his grave to get him out, which I thought that, you have to do that in order to meet another platforming goal, and I thought that was just dark humor at its finest. So death is okay. Really, no, seriously, death is okay, kids. We all die, every one of us. Yes, you eating the carrot back there, you're gonna die too. This game, from what I saw psychologically and philosophically, has a way of talking about death that normalizes it. And I love this discussion of where we're becoming to normalize the topic of death. It needs to be normalized. People are too afraid of it, and it gets, quite frankly, it gets annoying, because it's one of the more finite things in life that is actually going to happen. Everything else in life is very unpredictable besides death. This game took death, it made it fun, and they normalized it. And that's not a sentence I ever thought I would ever say, but it's true. How is death not cute whenever you have to pee on your friend's grave, then light their ass on fire so you can complete another platforming puzzle? Not just that, but Ben goes into this platforming afterlife, so to speak, of where you have to get back to your original checkpoint, and getting there never looked so filled with paperwork and technical. Death is a part of life. And death is a part of every platformer that you play. It just so happens that this game takes the concept of death and it makes it meaningful and takes it to a whole nother level, no pun intended. Literal and meaningful take that they have on death in this game. I think it's really important to discuss, and I hope there is more discussion around this when there are future games to come. So let's go into the Aristotelian unity, shall we? The fact that it all comes back to the beginning. It all comes back to Peru, where they started. The last construct is where they started the game. That's what Aristotelian unity is. You have one point, and then you start exactly at the same point that you were at the very end. In one of the last constructs, Ben and Dan go through a level called regret. Do they regret anything? Do they regret picking the flower for Matt C? Do they regret, throwing the dead body into the pile of spikes in order to, have Dan jump over it? Do they regret killing those little monsters that actually now have a voice? No, it was all a progression of thought. It was all a progression of how they needed to get out of the situation that they were in. Bottom line of this construct is that you should live life with no regrets. You should live life. It all comes back to the root. It all comes back to the beginning and the source of the emotion. So here's what my final thoughts are. This game is one I will remember for the rest of my life. It really made a strong impact on my heart and soul. It really is something that I did not anticipate I would love it this much as I do. Like, I absolutely love this game so much. And the thing is that I was going from crying to laughing to being mesmerized by the whole concept, and it's one of those really weird moments of where you have to sit back and you just have to analyze things, and you just have to say, wow, a game made me feel like that. A game really touched my soul in a way that I never thought it possibly could. Let's contemplate, philosophize, and make an imaginative reality come to life, because in the lair of the Clockwork God, anything is possible. So you guys, that was today's review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you all are having an absolutely wonderful day, and I want to give a major shout out again to Dan Marshall for sending me this game. Absolutely brilliant, absolutely wonderful. I would highly recommend anyone who wants to play a fun, meaningful, intense platformer. I would highly recommend this one. So if you guys want to download the game and get it on Steam, the download link is in the description below. If you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below, because I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and double uploads on Friday. And stay casually nerdy, you guys. I will see you all in Monday's video. Peace.